If a pandemic wasn't enough, a cyclone tore through Bengal. And now, swarms of locusts passed over Haryana, Punjab. Then Rajasthan. Now Uttar Pradesh. And Madhya Pradesh. Attacking fields, eating up standing crop within hours, leaving in its wake a trail of destruction and misery.
टिड्डी आई थी अभी हाल पूरी फसल को पेटे मेटे पूरे नष्ट कर दिए हम तो बर्बाद हो गए महाराज
Terrifying cities, squatting on rooftops. This is a roof in Jaipur. This is Jaipur's famous Johari Bazaar. As citizens looked up to apocalyptic-like skies, overcast by a sea of buzzing brown, hungry mass. In a pandemic, North India now in the grips of a locust attack.
Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. While citizens in certain cities like Jaipur today looked up to apocalyptic skies, the rest of India also looked up. Finally, you could spot airplanes. Well, 2 months down the line of a lockdown, India opened up its skies today. We're going to tell you all about it. Are you looking at flying? Do you want to get onto a plane? What is your flight risk when it comes to contracting coronavirus? We're going to break it down for you, but as usual, right on top, I want to take you through the latest numbers that my producer Harshit and I have collated through the course of the day, which numerically gets us up to speed on where India stands with its fight against coronavirus. So right now, the total number of positive cases stand at 138,845. These are the number of coronavirus positive cases in the country. We've recorded till now across the country 4,021 deaths. I want to focus now on the state of Maharashtra. The state of Maharashtra continues to record the highest number of cases in any other state. Maharashtra has now crossed the 50,000 mark, standing at 52,667. Mind you, this is the number which pretty much is accounts for one-third of the coronavirus cases recorded across the country. Maharashtra till now has recorded 1,695 deaths. 1,000 of these deaths are just in the city of Mumbai. Let's move on now to the state of Tamil Nadu. Total coronavirus positive cases recorded at 16,277, and with total deaths recording of 111. Gujarat has come in third, beating Delhi by a whisker, and Gujarat right now stands at total coronavirus positive cases at 14,056. However, Gujarat has recorded a higher number of deaths than the state of Tamil Nadu, recording 858 deaths. This is what it looks like. This is where, numerically speaking, if you just look at data, is where India stands with its fight against the coronavirus. So yes, at a level, at a level, as you can see, the cases are rising. We are recording every day a very high number. Maharashtra continues to break records in recording coronavirus cases day by day. But we are also opening up, trying to balance the economic and the human cost of this pandemic. And that meant today, opening up meant today that we opened up our skies. Finally, after 2 long months, India started operating the domestic flight sector. It was a day replete with chaos, confusion, and lots of cancellation of flights. But this, to give benefit of doubt, was just day one. This is how it went out.
After a gap of nearly 2 months, India's skies started buzzing again. 4:45 a.m. IGI Airport, Delhi. The very first flight took off from Delhi to Pune. Many airport staff as well as flyers were seen using PPE suits. Some were also clad in raincoats.
proper sanitization they were doing, and through the journey also they were doing in the middle they were doing the sanitization and everything. Personally, I am happy to be back with all the safety measures.
Airports working on a war footing are not compromising on safety of passengers.
मैं यहाँ पर खास तौर पर मैं आपको नीचे लेकर जाना चाहूँगा, जब आप देख रहे हैं कि किसी भी बैगेज को किस तरीके से एक्सरे बैगेज इंस्पेक्शन सिस्टम से गुजारा जा रहा है और उसके बाद आगे चल कर के पैसेंजर स्वयं अपना बैगेज उठा रहे हैं। दो पैसेंजर के बीच की दूरी को मेंटेन किया जा रहा है।
But all flyers weren't that lucky. At Delhi airport alone, over 80 flights were cancelled, leaving flyers in a lurch.
मैं एयरपोर्ट पे आया था, तो जैसे मैं एंटर करने लगा तो उन्होंने कहा कि आपकी फ्लाइट कैंसिल है, आप हेल्प डेस्क पे जाके पता कीजिए। मैं हेल्प डेस्क पे गया तो उन्होंने सिर्फ इतना बताया कि ऑपरेशनल रीजन के कारण आपकी फ्लाइट कैंसिल हो चुकी है।
Only at the counter when I was trying to go inside, when I was trying to check in, they told me you cannot. And see, to be honest with you, you don't know. Maybe one guy is aware of it. Maybe there is a sudden change, you don't know. There is no intimation.
Similar disappointment was in store at Bengaluru and Chennai airports.
Yesterday also, till we were taking booking and all, they did everything. Everything was going smoothly. Just now I reached there, they said the flight have been cancelled and we don't know anything regarding this.
Mumbai, India's worst hit city, witnessed its own set of problems.
Now here you can see there are several passengers sitting over here. They came over here since yesterday evening, but when they checked their flight status online or through the customer service, they were told that their flight is on time. But when they came to this particular counter over here, they were informed their flight is cancelled.
Despite hitting air pockets, the starting of flights comes as a welcome breather for India. The next goal is to fix the glitches like abrupt cancellations that left many passengers disgruntled. Bureau Report, India Today.
And to get a reality check from the airport in Delhi, my colleague Mausami Singh ensured that she took that reality check, a status check there. Mausami, what was the update today? The flights resumed. How was the first day at the airport?
It's not the same. The airport is not the same. The mechanism is not the same. And first of all, you need to adapt. You need to be patient. You need to be ready to listen. And you need to respect the COVID warriors. Importantly, as far as, gearing up with the homework is concerned, do your homework. Get all the paperwork right. Get all your boarding passes and your baggage tags online. Be ready to forget that you have hands in terms of no touching, no showing your boarding tickets in person. It's the CISF personals, the air hostesses, they'll all be behind the shield. So forget that. And importantly, carry, I would suggest please carry your food, your snacks or whatever, because the airlines will not be offering you any beverage. Though there are shops open at the airport, but importantly, you should have your logistics in place and travel light. 2 bags allowed, one is check-in and one is handbag. You don't want a very heavy handbag. Anyways, you won't be allowed that because they wanted to keep it to the minimum 7 kg weight. And you will be given shields and gloves. You need to sanitize and cooperate as far as the entire exercise is concerned. It's starting. At the same time, the authorities need to plug in a lot of loopholes so that the passengers who are already mentally traumatized, they are not harassed any further.
All right, thank you, Mausami. We are getting in breaking news coming in, and news is just coming in that the DGCA has allowed charters to fly. So slowly, yes, we are opening up the skies, and the latest news is that along with starting of the domestic sector, now the Ministry of Civil Aviation, the DGCA, has allowed operation by private jets charter flights. Now the SOPs for this extremely similar, or rather exactly the same, which would be followed by passenger flights. So charters right now would be allowed. Little by little, India is opening up its skies. We've had charters being allowed now. Earlier on today, we opened up our skies to domestic flights for the first time in 2 months. We are looking at opening the international sector as well. The Civil Aviation Minister has indicated, Mr. Hardeep Puri, that possibly by end of July, we should be operating a lot of sectors internationally. But this is the latest news coming in. But should you jump on a flight? Yes, domestic sector is allowed. Yes, charters are allowed. We are hopefully looking at opening out our international flight sector. But should you hop on to that flight soon? Well, what is your risk of actually contracting coronavirus? There is no middle seat which is going to be empty. So all social protocol norms established till now, norms that you and I have been following, when you're in the cabin, when you're in the aircraft, there is no social distancing. Are you at risk? How much risk? Take a look at this report.
Good morning. Wear your gloves, please. Gloves.
With the mask firmly in place, armed with an all-new protocol. Yes, India has taken to the skies once again. Amidst confusion, amidst chaos, and over 80 flights cancellation. The country on Monday resumed domestic flight operations after 2 months of lockdown. The fear of coronavirus has added an all-new dimension to the fear of flying. An in-cabin protocol suggesting all seats, including the middle seat, will be occupied, has forestalled religiously following every tenet of the social distancing protocol. Leading to one pertinent question: how much at risk are we if we decide to fly in times of COVID? Infection risk is expected to be low on airplanes, except in cases if a healthy passenger is sitting next to an infected one. 2 studies done before the coronavirus pandemic have highlighted the risk if an infectious disease infected passenger is on board. This 2018 study by Emory University and Georgia Tech elucidates through calculation of probabilities how distance reduces the risk of infection. If an infected passenger has occupied seat number 10C in an aircraft, the seats coded red are at 80% to 100% infection risk. Those coded pink face only less than 3% risk, while the crew coded orange faces a risk of infection of 5 to 20%. Purdue University in Indiana created a simulation modeled on a virus like SARS of how virus pathogens travel if an infected person sneezed or coughed on board without wearing a mask. It shows how tiny saliva droplets from one cough or sneeze propel germs and can infect the tent sitting closest to the infected person. However, some germs can reach anyone in the plane.
It's important to remember that our usual hygiene behaviors are still really, really important. So, I think over decades and decades of research, hand washing keeps coming up as the most important thing that we can do to stay healthy.
So does the risk change with a window, middle, or an aisle seat? Though the main indicator will always be airflow, but the aisle seats are more at risk, window seats less. While a debate still ensues if leaving the middle seat empty helps, while studies indicated limited protection by leaving the middle seat empty, but did admit it provided a big psychological advantage to the traveller. And lastly, if you ever were thinking of flying business class, there is no better time than now, with business class seats definitely allowing a lot more virus protection.
People who are in a window seat, don't have people exposed to that or aren't being exposed to other passengers passing back and forth in the aisle.
So is it safe yet to jump in a plane? Well, experts suggest that though airplanes have a higher ventilation rate than most office buildings, one would think about the reason for the trip. Is it unavoidable or is it for pleasure? The latter, as per them, can wait while we get a little more used to the new normal flying. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, so joining me right now is Dr. Swapnil Parekh, author of the book, The Coronavirus. Dr. Parekh, appreciate you joining me. So how much of a risk, doctor, if somebody who wants to now fly, should they fly or should they only fly if it is an emergency that they cannot avoid?
Thank you so much, Preeti, for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to be on India Today. I think your question itself provides the answer. If it's essential to travel, if it's essential to take that risk, that's a decision the person needs to make. But if it's non-essential travel, just like we tell people, if it's not essential for you to leave your home, try and stay indoors as much as possible. I think that extends to staying off airplanes as well. How much of a risk it is? Well, in my book, The Coronavirus, What You Need to Know About the Global Pandemic, we talk about an ill-fated flight on the Ides of March 2003 in the middle of the SARS epidemic. It was a flight from Hong Kong to Shanghai. One passenger got on, as far as we know, with SARS, and 22 passengers and 2 air stewards were infected at the end of it. It's also important that many of the passengers going through airports, getting onto airplanes, may be asymptomatic, they may be pre-symptomatic, and they could still be infectious. And studies are showing that between 30 to 70% of all infections happen because of people who don't have any symptoms. So screening procedures at airports might miss these individuals, and then infection can spread all over the country, the world. So there really is danger, not just for the individual, but also for society. But we need to recognize some people do need to fly. And while I personally wouldn't recommend it, if it can be avoided, many people are going to do it anyway. And then we need to discuss the best ways for them to stay as safe as possible. You mentioned the Purdue University study, and the CFD simulation they did is actually pretty accurate. When a person coughs and sneezes, they can release tens of thousands of infectious droplets. Some of these can be expelled at over 100 kilometers per hour. So it can be quite infectious quite a threat when someone coughs or sneezes in a closed environment.
But Dr. Parekh, I want to know, so if it is going to be infectious and there is no middle seat which is empty, could you throw some light on this whole controversy about the middle seat? Let's say if we had decided to keep it empty, which now the Supreme Court has recommended for international flights, would it have helped?
Well, I think it does help to increase distance between people. You have to look at the economics of it. How much is it going to increase the cost of air travel? Maybe that itself will be a deterrent for unnecessary air travel. But we need to be realistic about this. There's a lot more that needs to be done than physical distancing. There are airflow systems that need to be upgraded in airplanes. It's a very, very expensive endeavor. I'm not sure how much airlines are going to invest in these technologies. The toilets can become infectious. When passengers are eating or drinking, they may momentarily remove their masks. Surgical masks especially, don't trap all of the droplets and droplet nuclei. Aerosols are increasingly being identified as a threat in enclosed environments. So I think when we talk about leaving the middle seat empty, while it might afford some extra protection, it might also provide a false sense of security. There is no easy answer to this. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Dr. Parekh, Dr. Parekh, appreciate you joining me, but just before I let you go, so let's say, you don't recommend flying, but if it is an emergency, what should I do? A lot of people are actually thinking right now of actually wearing full PPE suits and going in and sitting.
Well, I don't know about full PPE suits. Maybe we should leave those for healthcare workers, who really need them. But yes, a mask certainly would help. The better fitting the mask, the better. Do not take the mask off. Of course, follow all the other steps that you should, including maintaining clean hands, hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene, avoid touching your face, avoid touching objects. Taking your mask off to eat, to drink can be problematic. As difficult as it is, you probably want to avoid using shared restrooms as much as possible. And then there's a lot that is said to be done at the airport itself. Avoid crowding. Follow cues, follow physical distancing.
Right.
All the stuff that the WHO has been talking about for months and months. And if you're elderly,
appreciate you joining us, Dr. Parekh. Right. Right. So in case... All right, appreciate you joining us, Dr. Parekh. Thank you there. I just want to move on right now. So, net, I think if I sifted through a lot of studies today, and one thing I could figure out very clearly is don't get onto a flight if you don't have to. Stick where you are, wait for the new normal to settle, and then move on. However, there are people who are doing so because some of them have work, and there are certain states which have now very strict protocols when it comes to quarantine if you actually end up in their state on a flight, a domestic flight. Karnataka is one such state which has asked for institutional quarantine if you come in as a domestic airline passenger. However, former Chief Minister of Karnataka, Sadanand Gowda, created a bit of a controversy when he flew from Delhi to Karnataka, and while he landed, he did not get quarantine. Now, he went ahead and said that, that he didn't need to get quarantine because the Karnataka government has now taken out, has in fact made it the protocol mandatory for a 7-day institutional quarantine. And in this case, it says that leaders on duty, political leaders on duty, are actually exempt from that institutional quarantine. In another instance of VVIP culture, doctors visited his residence to test his swab sample, even as common citizens wait in queue in government hospitals for the same. Gowda, meanwhile, has tested negative, just to put that on record. And now that we are sticking to flying, well, there's good news for some because a lot of you out there would be actually hoping to reunite with family. Some of them have been kept away, a few have been kept away from each other for 2 months at end. Well, we are talking about a 5-year-old boy, Divan. He went to his grandparents' place and then the lockdown happened. For 2 months, he didn't see his parents. Today was a joyous moment for him.
He is the youngest to fly alone as India reopened its skies. 5-year-old Devan Sharma flew from Delhi to Bengaluru. He reunited with his parents. Devan was stranded with his grandparents in Delhi during the lockdown. In Bengaluru, Devan was received by his mother at the Kempegowda International Airport.
He just traveled on because actually he went to his grandparents' home. He stuck over there in the lockdown. Then he came back today. So the first flight booked because it's almost a 3 month over there for him.
The reopening of flights has been a welcome breather for Devan and his parents. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, the irony to all of this is that while we are opening out skies, while people are learning to travel through the new rules and new normal that we've established, the irony is we continue to record very high cases. Now, the state of Mumbai, and there's news just coming in, 2,436 new cases in Maharashtra in just the last 24 hours. 60 deaths have taken place in Maharashtra in just the last 24 hours. 52,667 total cases in Maharashtra and 1,430 new cases in Mumbai in just the last 24 hours. And the Mumbai death toll, and that's the worrying part, viewers, the Mumbai death toll has crossed the 1,000 mark. This is what it looks like where the state of Maharashtra is concerned and the city of Mumbai, which pretty much is, sadly to say, the corona capital of India. And in days, it's touted to take over as the city recording the largest number of coronavirus positive cases. It's second right now with Moscow at number 1, but cases in Moscow are beginning to fall, but not in Mumbai. We're only seeing a rise. All right, as we close the show, To The Point this evening, I want to leave you with these endearing images coming in from across the country. Eid Mubarak to all those who are celebrating. While the Middle East celebrated Eid yesterday, today was India's turn. Eid Mubarak. Thank you all for joining us. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.